Lucas Bright or Ryan Sterling, who were her favorites. Our first date was when I took Lily to see a small venue concert by the Night Wanderers. She wasn't particularly fascinated by the opening act, but she really liked the main band years later. She confessed that she fell in love with me after that concert. The reason for this is not entirely clear to me even after 12 years of marriage. Lily remains as stunning as ever with her tall stature and slender figure. She boasts a fantastic figure. Her dark emerald green eyes contrast strikingly with her shock of auburn hair. Whenever Lily dresses up, she still attracts attention. As for me, I'm Michael Hayes, and I don't look that bad. I am tall and of decent weight with sandy hair and blue eyes. We were often told that we were a beautiful couple. As a student, I never had any difficulty finding female companionship. But when I met Lily, I realized that she was the one I wanted to see next to me. For 12 years, I believe that Lily felt the same way about me. We first met in high school and fell deeply in love with each other. Our bond only strengthened during our 4 years of university studies, which led us to tie the knot 3 months after graduation. Lily is not just my true love. She is my soulmate, my everything. Life is unthinkable without her. Although we cherish our 2 children very much, it becomes difficult to be spontaneous with them. Tonight was supposed to be special for the 2 of us. We decided to go to a music festival in the city with 3 other couples, looking forward to a late evening with drinks. We rented rooms in one of the hotels in the city center. We agreed that my parents would look after our 2 daughters for this evening. The evening promised to be truly unforgettable. But everything turned out in an unexpected way. Upon arrival at the festival grounds, I was overcome by a feeling of anxiety, although I could not determine its cause. The women seemed preoccupied with something, and one of the men radiated a sense of complacency. Among these 3 couples, I particularly liked David and Hannah, as well as Rob and Anna. David worked as a software engineer and Hannah ran the household, raising 3 children. Rob was the owner of his plumbing business and his wife was in charge of administrative affairs. The only couple I didn't really like were Jason and Tessa. To be honest, I didn't have any problems with Tessa, but Jason seemed unpleasant to me. Despite this, Lily and Tessa were college roommates and maintained a close friendship. Therefore, I had no choice but to tolerate Jason's presence. As far as I understood, Jason was to some extent connected with the music industry. I think he mentioned that he was an agent or something. It turned out that he was not particularly successful, while Tessa held a lucrative position as a representative of a pharmaceutical company. Personally, I held the position of financial advisor at a well-known brokerage firm. At the initial stage, everything was sluggish. But now I have more clients than I can serve in my company. As soon as you reach a certain threshold of clients, you are asked to become a mentor to a new employee and transfer part of your clientele to them. Naturally, I keep the most profitable clients for myself. I've had to make this decision twice before and it looks like I'm going to have to do it again in the near future. I'm enjoying a thriving career right now. Lily began her professional career as an administrative assistant to Mark Wilson, the executive vice president of the regional bank. After the birth of 2 daughters a year apart, Lily decided to stay at home with them until the youngest, Emily, went to 1st grade. Subsequently, Mark approached her one day and offered her a part-time job in connection with his promotion to president. Interested in this proposal, Lily considered her decision. I supported her decision to take advantage of this opportunity. If you suspect that I was wrong to advise Lily to return to work and that she is now having an affair with her boss, Mark, then you are very mistaken. Mark is 62 years old, bald, and more importantly, completely devoted to his wife and 5 children. Even though I felt that something was wrong, I decided not to dwell on it. I was looking forward to an evening of music with my wife and an intimate night together. While chatting at the festival, we met several familiar couples. Regular trips to concerts often lead to meetings with pleasant people. We also crossed paths with an old college acquaintance, Greg Abbott, and his wife Brenda. While I was talking to them, Lily and the others came over to our area. As soon as a new set of music started, everyone's attention was attracted by the commotion near the main stage. A crowd gathered and Brenda began to breathe heavily. "What's the matter?" Greg asked. "Don't you recognize him?" Brenda exclaimed. Looking back, I saw an extraordinarily handsome man. He was a little shorter than me, but his appearance was undoubtedly striking. Greg and I openly admitted our ignorance. This is Ryan Sterling, Brenda exclaimed excitedly. He and his fiancée Emma Winters are some of the hottest music stars, right? Indeed, Greg remarked, turning his neck to look at Ryan. I wonder if Emma Winters is here too. Brenda playfully interjected. Michael, on a scale of 1 to 10, Emma is undoubtedly a 15. She slapped her husband's arm teasingly. It's typical of you to think about that, I replied. Watching Ryan, I noticed that he was one of my wife's favorite singers. I thought about getting his autograph for her. The subsequent events completely stunned me. Ryan came over to our area and asked my wife to join him backstage. Without hesitation, she willingly went with him. For the next 4 songs, she didn't return. Annoyed, I returned to our spot and sat down. My wife didn't even bother to ask if I was against her going off with another man. When the 5th song started, I tried to intervene, but Jason's glass tipped over, and he cut his hand. Michael, could you help me? He asked. I looked in the direction my wife had disappeared and then at Jason. Instead of going after my wife, I decided to take Jason to the men's room. The damage turned out to be minor, and I helped him wash the wound and wrap it with a paper towel. When I returned to our area, I saw that my wife was leaving the festival grounds with Ryan. Hurrying after them, Jason followed me. Once outside, I saw Lily getting into a car with Ryan. I started running to catch up with her, but Jason blocked my path, causing me to stumble. Recovering quickly, I demanded, "What's the matter with you, Jason?" Grinning, he replied, "Ryan just took your wife for a ride." Soon, Tessa appeared. "This is a dream date for Lily," she remarked. Lily confessed to Jason and me that she liked Ryan, and we agreed that he would accompany her. "That's my wife," I exclaimed. "Do you think I don't deserve to be told about this?" "Go with the flow," Jason replied with a grin. "Lily said you didn't mind. Forget about it." "You're going with the flow," I said. Enraged, I punched Jason right in the nose. The sound when he broke down was the only pleasant moment of the evening. Then Tessa started attacking me, hitting me and trying to kick me. Fortunately, Greg witnessed the unfolding events and came for me. He quickly intervened and separated Tessa and me. He attacked my husband. Tessa began to scream. "No, he didn't," Greg replied calmly. "You both provoked a quarrel. He was just defending himself." Tessa became worried and dialed the emergency number. The police arrived about 10 minutes later and began collecting statements. Greg stuck to his version of events, and I repeated it, emphasizing that Jason had initially tripped me up. The audience that gathered during the commotion witnessed how Tessa attacked me. They informed the officers that they saw me trying to run away from her. As a result, Jason and Tessa were detained. When the police left, I felt depressed. When I returned to our table, I met 2 smiling women. "Where is everyone else?" Anna asked. "Jason and Tessa were arrested for assaulting me," I replied, trying to contain my anger. Lily left with Ryan and seemed pleased. "It wasn't intentional," Anna said. "She should have just gone backstage with Ryan, taking some pictures and come back. My wife and Tessa didn't reveal the true plan to you," I said, heading for the bar. Greg caught up with me there. "Are you going to be okay?" he asked. "I'm not sure what's going on," I admitted. "I hope my wife just went for a walk with that music star and will be back soon. But as soon as she gets back, we need to have a serious talk." "Listen, Michael," Greg interjected worriedly. "I don't want to add to your suffering." Brenda informed me that Ryan Sterling has a reputation for pursuing married women while enjoying conquests. I prayed that Lily wasn't one of his targets, but Greg advised me to prepare for the worst. My heart sank, not knowing what to do next. I assured Greg that I would be fine. Before I sat down at the table again, I tried to contact Lily on her cell phone, but the call went unanswered and was forwarded to voicemail. When I returned to my seat, the atmosphere was tense. The wives looked contrite while their husbands grumbled in displeasure. While the other couples were returning to the hotel, I decided to stay, not giving up hope for Lily's return. After waiting for half an hour, I eventually returned to the hotel. I called Lily's phone every 10 minutes until 3 o'clock in the morning. Disappointed and exhausted, I decided to move out and return home. Arriving around 4 o'clock, I settled down on the couch. I must have dozed off, but the sunlight woke me up at 7 o'clock. Lily hadn't returned yet. Since there were no messages from her on my phone, I went to our Facebook page to see if there was any news. Photos had appeared online, showing Ryan and Lily leaving the festival, heading to his residence, and Lily entering his house in his arms. Music websites were full of reports about Ryan's recent conquest. Burning with anger, I immediately contacted my lawyer, whose call was redirected to his residence since today is Saturday. At first, he was unhappy, but after learning about the circumstances, he changed his mind. He advised me to wait for Lily to come home and give an explanation. Around 11 o'clock, Lily appeared, smiling broadly. The smile disappeared as soon as she saw my expression. "We didn't do anything," she hastily explained. "We just talked all night. I understand that I should have consulted with you, but I was sure that you would refuse. You understand my passion for music and Ryan Sterling. Last night was like a fairy tale. Nothing bad happened, Michael. Love for you remains unshakable." I stared at her, feeling steam coming out of my ears. "I want you to pack your things and go to your parents," I said sternly. "Why are you making a big deal out of it, molehill?" She answered, sounding annoyed and apprehensive. "It was just a conversation. There was nothing else." "That's an unimportant question," I said through gritted teeth. "It's huge for me. I refuse to believe that nothing happened. However, let's assume that nothing happened. You embarrassed me in front of everyone." "You're exaggerating," Lily replied defiantly, folding her hands on her hips. "No one outside our circle knows about this situation. Anna understand that for me. It was just harmless entertainment." "You're a fool," I snapped, making Lily flinch. It was the first time I had addressed her in such a tone. "The news is everywhere. There are photos of you and Ryan leaving the festival, heading to his house, and probably photos of you leaving his house this morning. I think our marriage is over. Please pack your things and leave before I make a mistake. Please, Michael." Lily was begging, tears in her eyes. "I love you deeply. I'm sorry. I heard you, but there was nothing inappropriate about it. I thought you'd understand that when you found out the truth. We have to find a way to get through this. Think about our daughters. You weren't thinking about them when you left with that arrogant music. I hissed. "How would you feel if Emma or Emily did something like that in the future?" Lily turned pale at my words and then burst into tears. "I'm really sorry, Michael. I never imagined that everything would turn into such chaos. I made a mistake. Please forgive me." "You've never thought about it?" I replied, feeling anger rising in me. I needed to get her out of the situation before acting on impulse. So I left her standing there and retired to our bedroom. I grabbed the suitcase and started filling it with her clothes. "I can handle it," Lily muttered, and after a short pause, her voice trembled with tears. She slowly packed her suitcase and carried it downstairs. I didn't offer to help. I waited until she was gone. Then I slammed the door. Looking out the window, I saw her put her suitcase in the trunk and bury her face in her hands. I wanted to comfort her, but my anger was too strong. About 20 minutes later, she started the car and drove away. I immediately called my parents and told them what had happened. I asked them to keep the girls for a while longer and told them to tell Lily that I had them if she showed up, which they agreed to. Left alone, I thought about the state of my crumbling marriage. I've been going over everything in my head over and over again. Lily insisted that nothing had happened. Could this be true? I wasn't sure. But my gut told me she wasn't being honest. Will I be able to find the strength to forgive her and move on? Perhaps. As long as only our friends knew about it, as she claimed. But now that this whole situation has become known all over the internet, I didn't see a way to save our relationship. The idea of taking revenge on both of them. But I couldn't come up with a plan. I cried for at least an hour, venting my frustration by pounding on walls and doors. I felt completely powerless. Getting revenge on Ryan, a famous figure in the music world, seemed impossible. Although the divorce would have financial consequences, I was ready to work from home and fight for full custody of the girls if necessary. I'm sure I have every chance, given that I was a more stable parent. The thought that divorce could cause new suffering for my daughters weighed on my heart. When I was making another cup of coffee around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the phone rang. So far, my number has not appeared in the press. But I understood that it was only a matter of time. "Hello," I replied. "This is Michael Hayes. And your wife's name is Lily?" A woman's voice asked. Annoyed at the prospect of talking to a reporter, I replied curtly, "I'm not interested." The woman giggled softly. "Okay, I can't stand them either." "Who's this?" I asked, about to end the conversation. "I'm Emma Winters," she said in a gentle tone. "You probably know my fiancé, Ryan Sterling." "Yes, I know this guy," I replied, feeling impatient to end the conversation. "Do you love your wife?" Emma suddenly asked. I sighed. "No matter what, I still love her. But given everything that has happened, I don't see how we can rebuild our marriage. If I could come up with a solution that would save your marriage and also fix my relationship with Ryan, would you be interested?" My heart was racing, and I felt the need to sit down and reflect. In the end, I replied, "Yes, I want to save my marriage, but I don't know how to do it. I've loved Ryan for a very long time," she said. And again, there was a gentle giggle followed by a deep sigh. "We have known each other since childhood. He comes from a dysfunctional family similar to mine. His father was a womanizer, and his mother had a deep dislike for all men, including Ryan. She had never shown affection for him despite his best efforts. He never missed her. He had previously dated married women. I think that's how he's looking for the love that his mother couldn't give him. My own family was also dysfunctional when I was growing up. My mother suffered from alcoholism, and my father abused me. During that turbulent period, Ryan became a pillar of support for me, and I cherished him with all my soul. But our relationship ended when he moved to another country. After his parents divorced, I lay in tears for several weeks. Our paths crossed again in the music scene when we both achieved success. Despite knowing about Ryan's difficult history, I treated our new relationship with caution. But after the reunion, our love flared up with renewed vigor. During our engagement, he assured me that he had given up relationships with other women. When I asked him about your wife, he insisted that nothing bad had happened. Unfortunately, I cannot confirm any of these statements. Just the thought of breaking up with Ryan causes me great suffering. Yes, my wife also claims that nothing happened. I admitted the prospect of losing her is no less painful. "Do you trust her?" Emma asked. "No, I don't trust her," I replied. "I don't trust him either. I know Ryan, and it's not like him to invite a woman and do nothing. But I suppose stranger things have happened. Still, I tend to think that something has happened. That's why I wanted to understand the pain he caused me, and I would like your wife to feel the. I'm not sure that this will solve everything, but I hope that we can move forward together with our partners. So far, I agree with this plan." I added, "But how do we proceed?" "We will walk this path together," she replied. "First, we have to start a conversation with our partners about reconciliation. I'll get in touch with Ryan, but I'm not ready to talk to him at the moment. I intend to do it in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, you should consider allowing your wife to return home around the same time. I'll let you know when the time is right. It is important that you keep your distance and refrain from intimacy with her." "Why let her come back?" asked. "As soon as she gets home, we'll have lunch together, and I'll outline my strategy. There are still a few aspects that I need to work out," she explained, although I was still not sure about the correctness of this plan. Having no alternatives, I decided to act. First, I contacted my parents and informed them that I would pick up the girls in 30 minutes. Then I called my administrative assistant, Jennifer, and informed her that I would be working remotely for the next week. I could tell from her sympathetic look that she was already aware of the situation. With Ryan and Lily, she kindly offered her help in any necessary capacity. Then I dialed Lily's parents' number. Her father answered the phone apologetically. He saw the news and expressed embarrassment. When I asked to talk to Lily, she was overwhelmed with emotion, tearfully apologizing and expressing a desire to return home for a conversation. Lily, I said calmly, I think it would be better for us to live separately for a while. I will be working remotely next week. You have obligations from Monday to Wednesday. Let's arrange for you to pick up the girls on Wednesday evening. During this time, we will be able to solve everything. I will take responsibility for them on Sunday evening. Please, Michael, she begged tearfully. I want to go home. I want us to become a family. Don't you want that too? I thought so, I replied sadly. But now I'm not sure. I'll see you around 5 o'clock on Wednesday. I picked up the girls and informed them that Mom would spend a few days with their grandparents. They had a lot of questions, but their excitement increased when we arrived at Chuck E. Cheese. After a few hours of games and dinner, we returned home. As soon as we entered the house, the phone rang, not knowing the number. I decided to ignore it, but it kept ringing every 5 minutes until I unplugged it from the network. Around 6 o'clock, my cell phone rang. It was Lily. Why don't you answer? She snapped. Because it's just reporters asking about your alleged affair with Ryan Sterling. I replied, there was no romance, Lily insisted. I already told you that nothing happened. Well, then you need to inform the public because, of course, they won't believe it. I grumbled. There was complete silence on the other end of the line, after which Lily asked if she could talk to the girls. I handed the phone to the girls and overheard their conversation. They enthusiastically told Lily about their day at Chuck E. Cheese. Eventually, Emma returned my phone, indicating that Mom wanted to talk to me. Lily begged me to come home, but I told her I needed extra time on Wednesday evening. Lily arrived at 4 o'clock instead of the agreed 5. I was a little annoyed that she didn't follow my instructions, but I decided not to pay attention to it. The girls were very happy to see her, and Lily showered them with affectionate kisses. But when she tried to kiss me, I instinctively recoiled. Her expression became painful and tense. Then so be it, she said irritably. Maybe I should just take the girls and leave if that's what you want. No, Lily. I hastily interjected, looking panicked. Let's sit down and solve our problems. The girls started packing for the night when Lily informed them that they were going to visit their grandparents. What should we do now? Lily asked after an awkward silence. I wish I knew the answer, I replied. Right now I feel offended, confused, and angry. Do you have any suggestions on how to deal with these emotions? Asked. All I can do is apologize. Lily replied, her voice trembling slightly. I made a serious mistake. Please, I beg you. Forgive me, I don't want to lose you. Lily, it's not that simple. I replied, leaning back in my chair and crossing my arms. In the eyes of the whole world, I look like a fool. My wife betrayed me, and I didn't do anything. Lily started crying. I never wanted to hurt you. I just really wanted to meet Ryan Sterling and see his house. I knew you'd be upset with me, but I didn't expect it to escalate into such chaos. Lily, I sincerely want us to get through this, I said, eliciting a fleeting glimmer of hope in her eyes, but I have consulted with a lawyer. In case of divorce, I will seek full custody of the girls. It would be wise if you find yourself a lawyer. I don't want a divorce, she screamed. You can't take my daughters away from me. Lily, I'm not suggesting we get divorced, I clarified. But we have to prepare for the worst. I don't want to hurt you, I said. But given the attention to you, the court may be inclined to grant my request for custody. Please refrain from this. Lily begged. I am ready to do everything to fix our relationship. Why don't we continue our conversation? She suggested. Let's meet for lunch next Sunday when you pick up the girls. If you insist on maintaining custody of the girls, she replied with a note of anger in her voice. I will not tolerate such uncertainty. It's bad for them. If you keep this up, I will immediately start the divorce proceedings. And remember, your reputation is tarnished. I doubt the courts will view you in a positive light. I said. Lily seemed to lose her resolve at this statement. I won't continue. I don't want to get divorced. The second week began, and I returned to my duties in the office. If my assistants reacted to the situation with understanding, then several clients turned out to be less understanding. 2 of them found the situation funny and started teasing me. Despite my polite requests to stop, they continued. Disappointed, I announced that I was ending our cooperation and transferring their portfolio to another organization. Despite their attempts to apologize, I firmly stated that our business relationship had come to an end. The news of this decision spread among my clients, and conversations about my wife and Ryan stopped. Emma contacted me around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Do you have any plans for the evening? She asked. When she was convinced that I didn't, she replied, Great, because you're joining me for dinner at Elevation at 7 o'clock? A formal dress code. With that, she quickly ended the conversation. I was stunned that Emma informed me about the reservation of a table in the Elevation room, known as the most elite restaurant in the city. A table there usually took a long time to secure, and the prices were prohibitively high. I arrived at 7 o'clock and was escorted to a secluded room at the back of the restaurant. Despite the fact that the table was only for 2, the room was extravagantly decorated with a velvet sofa. My thoughts involuntarily turned to what was happening on this very couch. About 5 minutes later, Emma Winters appeared. When I got up from my seat, I couldn't help but admire her striking appearance. I was sure that when she appeared, the whole restaurant looked in her direction. She was small in stature with gorgeous blonde hair, warm brown eyes, and an attention-grabbing physique. It was Emma's smile that really captivated me. There was some kind of essence in her that breathed life into you. I couldn't understand why. Ryan shunned women of her level. May I address you as Michael? She asked, settling into the seat opposite me. I nodded. And how should I address you? I asked. Them, of course. She replied with a soft laugh that made me smile. We ordered drinks and talked for a while. Briefly, talked about my profession, but mostly regaled Emma with humorous anecdotes about my daughters and awkward teenage moments. When the waiter returned for our orders, I hesitated to rush Emma, but I couldn't wait to learn about her strategy. I was fervently looking for a way to save my marriage, but I was at a loss as to what to do. After dinner, Emma leaned back in her chair. Let's start with the fact, Michael. She began with a thoughtful smile. That this insidious Jason Morris organized this whole fiasco. He imagines himself to be a famous music agent, but in reality, he's just a pimp, Emma explained. He sets up situations in which unsuspecting people, especially married women, get intimate with music stars. It's amazing how many people he's trapped into relationships with these celebrities. She continued, You're talking to a person who has experienced this firsthand. She said with a note of disappointment. Although I was not fully aware of Jason's specific role until now, I managed to detain him. I replied, Really? Emma's eyes sparkled with intrigue. This is promising news. However, don't be too hard on your wife. Ryan is able to charm even the most virtuous people. Your wife is not the first married woman he has deceived. But I am determined to make sure that she becomes the last, Emma said. If I fail to achieve this, then the plan of action I have proposed will at least make him and your wife answer for the suffering they have caused us. I cannot guarantee that after the implementation of my plan, either of us will remain in our current relationship, but we will be comforted by the fact that we will not let them escape the consequences of their betrayal, she explained. Emma's compassion for my wife took me by surprise, but I found comfort in the fact that there would be consequences. At that moment, my main concern was how to find out her intentions. What's your plan? I asked. Before I divulged the details, she replied. I would like to say, Michael, that you are an attractive man with charm. Your wife made a serious mistake by jeopardizing your marriage. If the circumstances had been different, I might have been intrigued. That's very kind of you. But we both know that we live in different worlds. I replied. Besides beauty, You have amazing compassion. Your words are generous. But despite our different backgrounds, my interest in you remains unchanged, she admitted. Thank you. I admitted, curious to learn more about her strategy. I eagerly asked, and what's next? In the next 2 weeks, I intend to attract you as a client, said Emma. Excuse me? I don't quite understand. I replied, perplexed. As a client, do you mean to get financial advice? Yes, that's right, she said, still not understanding what she was talking about. Emma clarified, I will make some investments through you. But we will have to hold several meetings to clarify the details. In total, I suggest 4 meetings, 2 at your office and 2 at lunch. I'll choose the places. Very good. I agreed. Although I still didn't understand what the purpose was behind it. I can open an account for you. But the minimum investment amount is $10,000. I intend to invest a much larger amount, she said, and her smile widened. In the meantime, it is necessary that you do not tell your wife that I am your client. You should continue to meet with her to discuss reconciliation. After 2 weeks, you will allow her to return home, but refrain from intimacy. Subsequently, on October 15th, you and your wife should attend the charity music gala, which I have been actively involved in for many years. Most people don't know about my connection to this event, which I prefer to keep to myself. I usually show up every 2 years, but this year I will be present and you and your wife will accompany me. Emma said. I was on board even before the charity event started. I said, as far as I understand, tickets cost $20,000 apiece, and I cannot justify such expenses. Emma giggled again, flashing a smile that made my whole body tremble. Don't worry, your tickets will be provided free of charge. Just tell your wife that a client has generously gifted them to you, she assured. I still can't figure out how this plan can be useful. I admitted, expressing my disappointment. Well, Michael, Emma explained, part of the evening entertainment includes an escort auction. An escort auction? I asked again. Emma giggled again and explained, not the type of escort you're thinking of. We are auctioning willing men to women participating in the event. The one who offers the highest price will get the right to put a symbolic collar on the chosen man. Subsequently, men obey the whims of the winners. Emma continued, although most of the participants are not married, there are also married men who allow their wives to bid. In rare cases, a married man may not receive a win from his spouse. As a rule, such married people observe decency because otherwise their wives will, for obvious reasons, be upset. But this year, a married man will be auctioned at the gala auction, and his wife will not provide a winning bid. Subsequent events will not remain without consequences. She said. I kept a puzzled expression of disbelief on my face. Emma giggled and patted my hand reassuringly. You are a married man put up for auction, and I will be the winner. So all you have to do is rent a tuxedo and buy a new dress for your wife and join me as a guest. Suddenly everything fell into place. Emma's plan was brilliant. She offered Ryan and Lily a taste of the suffering that had befallen us. And even though I knew it was just a charade, just spending the evening with Emma Winters while everyone else assumed the worst would help even things out. It would shift the focus for me as a victim to Ryan. In addition, it would allow my wife to understand the pain and humiliation I have experienced. Perhaps this joint experience would help us turn to a psychologist and eventually overcome this ordeal. In the following weeks, time flew by quickly. During Emma's first visit to my office, the staff were full of enthusiasm. Our lunch gatherings took place in inconspicuous restaurants. But the need for such secrecy eluded me. Most of our conversations could have taken place within the walls of my office, but our communication mostly consisted of exchanging jokes. These dinners were amazing and gave me the opportunity to get to know Emma and Ryan better. It was obvious that she was genuinely attached to him and would be upset if their relationship broke down. But at the same time, she was ready to break up if he continued his previous behavior. A week before the celebration, I allowed Lily to return home. But at the same time, I made it clear that I would occupy the guest room. Although she looked depressed, She did not dispute this decision. On Wednesday, the day before the gala, I arrived home with tickets and Lily's eyes were shining with excitement. She was animatedly discussing the celebrities who would be attending the party and then scolded me for spending lavishly. It didn't cost me anything, I assured her. One of my clients generously provided tickets. I thought it would be a pleasant evening. By the way, I think you should buy a new dress for this occasion. Something seductive. Lily's enthusiasm was palpable and I almost took a liking to her. But a memory flashed through my mind of that ill-fated evening when I expected magic, and I was made a fool of. It was necessary for her to understand the depth of my suffering. When we arrived at the place, about 500 people had already gathered. In the registration area, there was a table designed for registration for the auction. I noticed a queue of men filling out questionnaires, 5 of whom were very handsome. I turned to Lily, feigning innocence, and asked, "What are you thinking about?" Gesturing at the table. "It's a charity event, and we didn't incur any ticket costs. How about a sign up and you bet on me?" Lily giggled, though her laugh wasn't as melodious as Emmy's. "I don't have any money, and I didn't bring my wallet with me because it won't fit in this bag," she explained. Following Emmy's instructions, I took cash with me. "Here's $1,000. You probably won't have to pay more than $50. But it's for charity, so offer at least $200. I instructed. "You're worth the whole $1,000 and more," Lily said with a big smile. Getting in line and walking forward, I started filling out the questionnaire. Looking at the list, I noticed that about 18 or 20 men had signed up. If I hadn't known that this was all staged, I would never have had the courage to take part. When I was about to leave, the woman at the table asked, "Have you indicated that you were married?" I nodded, and she handed me another document. "I assume that your wife is accompanying you. She has to fill out and sign this form so that you can participate," she informed. I signaled Lily, gave her instructions, and she quickly filled out the form, unaware that Lily had signed the document without reading it. She agreed that the winning bidder would dictate her actions to me. After completing the formalities, we went to the appointed table. Emma ordered us to sit down with 2-star TV presenters and 2 musicians from a popular national band. My wife was charmed not only by our table companions, but also by the numerous celebrities who attended the celebration. When the auction started, all the male participants were called to the stage. Smiling at my wife, I headed for the exit. As it turned out, there were 24 participants in total, and I assumed that most likely Emma deliberately left me as the last contender. When I took the stage, the funds raised exceeded $300,000, and I must admit that the bidding process was lively and exciting. "Our last participant is a local resident," announced the announcer, a well-known game show. "His name is Michael Hayes. He is married, the father of 2 children. I'm sure his wife is out there somewhere diligently emptying the piggy bank. Shall we start the bidding with $50? I think it's worth at least $100. An elderly woman in the front row exclaimed. I grinned and replied playfully, "Do you know how to wash dishes, ma'am?" "I'll wash and dry," she joked, drawing laughter from those present. "This is more than my husband can handle," another elderly lady added. The bidding quickly increased from $200 to $500. Soon I heard Lily's voice, "I'm offering $1,000. The crowd burst into applause, and a few moments later, a younger woman raised the bid to $2,000. In the blink of an eye, the bidding jumped to $5,000. I glanced at Lily, who was watching in disbelief, just shrugged my shoulders in response. An offer of $10,000 rang out from the back of the room, which was quickly followed by another offer of $15,000. If I hadn't known about the organized nature of this event, the escalation of the stakes could have gone crazy. When the bid went up to $25,000, I was seized with a feeling of anxiety. I assumed that a few thousand would be enough for me, but this amount far exceeded my expectations. Suddenly Emma's voice rang out from the far corner of the room. "I'm offering $100,000. There was stunned silence in the hall, not only because of the significant amount of the bet, but also because of the identity of the participant. To the cheers of the crowd, Emma Winters sank into a chair just below the stage. She looked at me with a smile and then, addressing the audience, exclaimed, "I don't even care if he knows how to wash dishes." The audience burst into applause and jubilation. I found myself blushing deeply. Emma went up on stage, put a familiar collar around my neck, and kissed me gently on the lips. By agreement, we returned to the place where Lily was sitting. Lily looked stunned and speechless. I bent down and kissed her gently on the lips. Then we attended a private screening of the new music documentary, which was attended by music stars. In my personal opinion, the film was boring, and Emma agreed. Nevertheless, after talking with the director, we both praised the production. After that, the limo took us to a dubious area of the city. I noticed 2 cars driving behind us, and Emma explained that they were part of her security team. She gestured at 2 dilapidated houses on the other side of the street. That used to be my house, and Ryan lived across the street. It was a more respectable neighborhood in those days. The atmosphere remained somewhat harsh. It was almost 3 o'clock in the morning when we got to Emma's house. Emma said that she had 6 houses, 1 in Los Angeles, 1 in New York, 1 in Nashville, 2 in Europe, and 1 in South America. This house had 3 floors, which corresponded to the size of 2 standard houses. Emma served me a drink in the living room. When I settled down on the couch, I burst out laughing. I wished I had a camera to capture Lily's reaction. I said, although guilt crept into my soul, it did not completely consume me. Emma settled down next to me, staying close. Emma put her hand on my knee. "Michael, let's be honest. Do you honestly believe your wife's claims that nothing happened?" she asked. "None of us can provide concrete evidence, but deep down, I believe there was one," I replied dejectedly. "That's why the pain doesn't go away. I understand, Michael, and I'm almost convinced that Ryan is having an affair with your wife," Emma said indignantly. "I think it's fair to even the odds." With that, she leaned over and kissed me gently. I was stunned by her offer. At first, I assumed that we would retire to Emma's house and sleep separately, which would allow others to believe in her closeness, although, in fact, this was not the case. But now Emma was offering herself to me. It didn't take me long to make a decision. Perhaps if I were a more noble person, I would refuse, but still recovering from the pain caused by my wife's act and having the opportunity to be with Emma Winters. It was hard for me to resist. We kissed passionately on the couch for about 20 minutes. The feeling of intimacy with such an amazing woman was exciting. In the end, she took my hand and led me to her bedroom. Entering the bedroom, Emma began to dance. Intrigued from the moment of our first kiss, I watched Emma's dance moves and felt the anticipation in me, reinforcing the desire for an immediate connection. Undressing, Emma led me to her bed. While my wife was mastering the skill, I found that Emma's experience gave me even more pleasure. Perhaps the novelty of the meeting intensified the sensations. At that moment, such differences were insignificant. So, neared the climax, I informed Emma about it. The next morning was marked by a special intimacy between Emma and me, characterized by intimate conversations and moments of closeness that contributed to a deep sense of connection between us. Emma's affectionate words and gentle gestures contributed to a feeling of warmth and comfort between us, laughing and hugging each other. We lost track of time and enjoyed each other's company. Our bond deepened as we spent more and more time together, generating a deep sense of trust and intimacy. Emma's gaze conveyed a deep sense of love and significance, accompanied by unspoken promises that even more joyful moments lay ahead. When the morning sun lit up the room, we realized that we had spent a lot of time just enjoying each other's presence. Despite the lateness of the hour, Emma's infectious laughter calmed me. It was one of those mornings when everything seemed harmonious. When you bask in the presence of a person who understands you and cares deeply about you, the joy we received from communication served as a vivid reminder of how pleasant it is to communicate with the woman we love. Playfully reminded me that my wife was not worried during my absence and stressed that nothing terrible had happened. I giggled in response and we went to the shower together. Then we got dressed, and Emma made scrambled eggs for me while we waited for the limo to arrive. During the trip home, I was overcome by a sense of calm. I hoped that with Lily's willingness, we could begin the path to healing and moving forward. When I returned to our house, I found Lily in tears in the living room. "I wasn't sure if you'd come back," she said, her voice full of sadness. "The news is full of reports that Emma Winters paid $100,000 for an evening with you. At first, I thought it was revenge, but watching how she treated you, it can be concluded that her investments were a reflection of her sincere feelings for you. Despite these actions, I do not consider you guilty. Do we have a chance to make peace?" "First of all, Lily, I confess nothing untoward has happened," I said at first. Indignation flashed in her eyes, but then her expression quickly softened. "Really?" she asked. "Emma is my recent client," I explained. "She thinks it was a completely justified reaction, given Ryan's actions towards me. In addition, Emma was a patron of the arts and provided tickets for the gala concert. She usually donates $100,000 anonymously every year, but this time she decided to make a public contribution to deliver a message to her fiancé. So I'm right, it really was a means of revenge against Ryan. The future of our relationship is in your hands. If you're willing to work on our marriage and attend counseling, I'm willing to do the same." Lily threw herself into my arms, and I kissed her fervently before leading her to our bedroom. Despite feeling exhausted, I found the strength to make love to her. After that, I fell asleep again until my daughters got into bed around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, after a quiet dinner with the girls. When they went to bed, Lily and I sat together on the terrace, holding hands. At that moment, I was full of confidence that we could fix our marriage and move forward together. Lily and I turned to a consultant named Rachel for help, who played a crucial role in solving our problems. Surprisingly, Rachel was more strict with Lily than I expected. Rachel, being a woman, would be more understanding about this, but she quickly pointed out that Lily had thought through her affair in advance and I hadn't. Despite the fact that we both insisted that there was nothing physical, Rachel was skeptical. She stressed that seeking solace in someone other than a spouse is in itself a betrayal. Lily blushed throughout our conversation, and Rachel didn't seem to pay attention to it, understanding my night with Emma as revenge on her fiancé, which in fact it was. Rachel, of course, did not know about my significant role in organizing the affair. Despite this, the consultations turned out to be incredibly useful. Surprisingly, one positive result was extracted from all this turmoil. Lily has stopped obsessing over music, and she no longer finds pleasure in attending concerts. But she is ready to join the girls if they want to listen to a children's album. As for Jason and Tessa, I decided to drop the charges against Tessa, explaining to the authorities that she believed she was protecting her husband. But I continued the accusations against Jason. As a result, he was sentenced to 3 months in a district detention center. We decided to sever all ties with Jason and Tessa, and Lily is no longer in contact with Tessa. Their relationship has deteriorated significantly, and Lily holds Tessa responsible for almost ruining our marriage. Cannot understand my wife's point of view on this issue. Meanwhile, Emma and Ryan exchanged vows at a wedding that was called the wedding of the century. The guest list exceeded 1,000 people, and the presence that had become a status symbol in the music world. Unfortunately, Lily and I didn't get an invitation, but I sent Ryan a wedding present, a pair of bullhorns. I cut the horns in half and sent them with a note. "Stay away from my wife, and I'll stay away from yours." I still held a grudge against Ryan, but Emma assured me that he found the gesture funny. He even framed the note and proudly hung it in his studio. In typical music industry fashion, their marriage turned out to be short-lived and lasted only a year. True to her word, Emma, after learning about Ryan's infidelity, began divorce proceedings. The breakup was peaceful, and they remain on good terms. But it was still a pity. Emma confessed to me that she genuinely loved him. From what she said about their relationship, it became clear that they shared a deep affection. Unfortunately, this was not enough to save their marriage. Emma is still our client. After opening her account, she deposited a significant amount of $1 million into it. I assumed that after taking revenge, she would close the account, but she decided to keep it. When the account balance reached $2 million, she added $2 million more. Although we have never met in person since that celebration, we regularly FaceTime each other about 4 times a year to discuss her investments. Sometimes our conversations boil down to the study of life. Emma demonstrates sharp business acumen, showing unexpected conservatism in choosing investments. Her political views remain a mystery to me. Although the quarterly portfolio update lasts about 20 minutes, our conversations often drag on for an hour or two, covering a wide range of topics. After her divorce from Ryan, Emma jokingly suggested that she should have chosen me. I waved her off, emphasizing the difference in our experience. Since then, she has been playfully teasing me, not letting me come to my senses. She even jokes that with a good combination of circumstances, she can start a romantic relationship, jokes that she will make a move as soon as she finishes her world tour. As Lily and I approach our 15th wedding anniversary, I can't help but acknowledge the difficulties we faced along the way. Despite all these difficulties, our marriage was just amazing. Looking back, I'm sure that without Emma's help, I could have considered divorcing Lily. Now I can't imagine my life without her. In addition, I want to share another interesting event. Lily is pregnant and we are looking forward to the birth of our boy. This news filled me with great joy and anticipation of the future. Thank you for taking the time to read this story. If you enjoyed it, subscribe, like and share in the comments. Remember, history is a witness to the past, a light of truth, a living memory, a teacher of life, a messenger of antiquity, and see you soon.